Hey everyone, welcome to my Hellish Quart Cuirassier Championship. That's just a fancy name for a rapier tourney. I explained why we went with that title name for the rapiers. That's because the cuirassiers in real life were like badass heavy cavalry, and they were known for using stab centric swords. So that's why I thought it was fitting, especially given the theme that we've gone with. So a lot of the other title names for the weapon-specific titles we came up with are, types of warrior, types of soldier, these types of things. So I'll get into comms as usual, and we'll get right into the tournament. We're not going to waste any more time because we were waiting for at least one other person to join, and that's happened. So hopefully info is still around. But regardless of that, oh yes, I don't think Fixer has the. Oh yes, Fixer does. Okay. Beautiful. I just misspelled it. Excellent. We got info versus fixer to start out. Been waiting long enough to get this started. If somebody doesn't show up for whatever reason, we'll still continue as usual. We'll just treat it as a disqualification if we need to, but we'll give everybody time to show up, and we'll wait. We'll do the other matches if we need to and whatnot, and so everyone will have plenty of time to get to their PC or whatever they need to do. I believe that's Fixer joining us. Info, we'll give about another minute or so, and if not, we'll just move on. And since Pekla might still be away, I think we'll go straight to my fight against British Turk, which I'm pretty excited for. He's probably besides Info, he's the only rapier specialist who showed up here. I don't know about Fixer. Fixer might be as well, but then we have Pekla, of course. Pekla can play a very good rapier. I just wouldn't call him a specialist of sorts because he also plays Zera, he plays shield characters, he plays everybody. So Pekla is more of a generalist, and Oak, like myself, is a saber master. So not used to rapiers, but still hoping to put on a good performance. He's absolutely a terrific player in his own right, all the same. Info has showed up just in time. Okay, yeah, I got everything set up. So you guys know how I like to do these round robins. We go fast and we don't waste time. So 7 flags per round, and it's just 1 round for each of your fights. So only one chance to win, but all the same, the matches are just long enough for you to experiment a little bit. Let me just make sure. Yeah, it says just for AI, but I like to turn it off all the way, just in case. Probably doesn't actually change anything, but you never know with Kobold. Info on the left should just have keyboard, fixer on the right. Might have to click the window to get in. Info just has keyboard. Fixer, let me know if you need keyboard as well. Just give me a ping or something. Let's try that again. Info, you're on the left. And I did check my net. It should be way better than last time. I think we just had an unfortunate day that one time with the internet. But these things happen. Yeah, info has keyboard, so I'm not sure what's going on. Yes, you only have keyboard. Make sure you click the window before you select. Yeah, excellent. Info is in. Fixer, if you need keyboard or something, again, let me know. But you're on the right side. It says gamepad, so I'm not sure what's up with Fixer. There we go. And rapiers only, so that means Marie and Marta are your choices. There are no other characters allowed, just for this tournament. We usually do mixed weapons tournaments for those who are not aware. This is a sort of a special event for a special title. It's not for the typical champion title, so. I think info selected, Fixer maybe contemplating, I'm not sure. Yeah, that's fair, especially if you're not a rapier player, it might be a tough choice. I think a lot of people consider Marta stronger, but this is still a matchup. Like, if Marie were to fight Marta, it's still possible for Marie to win. Yeah, FPS is looking good, 165, beautiful. Now they're both playing kind of patiently. The dynamic of a rapier duel is very different since it's very thrust-centric. Yeah, I think Fixer's just playing it slow. There was a lunge there, testing the defense a little bit. Info taking it slow too, interestingly enough, not taking the initiative, which might be advisable against somebody surrendering it, but Fixer is trying to land that first part of the double lunge. Dash from Info, good parry. Okay, I was gonna say nobody's been hit, but Info actually managed to land a slight hit there. Dash into a punch, that's a cut there. Yeah, that was an interesting engagement they started off with. Both of them have been grazed. Nobody's been hit with a decisive blow yet. And it's a double, despite both of them being unusually careful. But remember, Fixer is newer too. It's not just a matter of what they specialize in. It's also the fact that they're new to the community. So fighting somebody experienced like Info, which again, let me remind viewers that Info is a rapier specialist and a veteran. So Info is definitely one of the favorites here. But that said, Fixer got a point to start off. Info just wasn't ready for that lunge coming in, didn't long guard in time or something. Good parry of the lunge by Info going for the full double lunge. That's a trade. Interesting that Fixer doesn't go with the second lunge. Maybe doesn't know about it. Or prefers to do one stab. But all the same, even that first lunge, if you time it just right, it can be very effective as well. Especially in a rapier matchup where you're not worried about your blade being beaten so much. Good counter thrust by Info. 1-1. This is points-based, by the way, so obviously if you win everything, you'll win the tournament, right? But even if you lose a fight, it can still be worth it to try and shoot for as many points as possible per match. Because what that does is it increases your chances of winning. So you don't want to have a bad performance where somebody gets a win on you and you only get 1 point, for instance. That'd be really bad. But if you make it a close fight, your chances are still that much better. Yeah, Turk's here, that's good. Turk also came in clutch, joining last minute, but Pekla is the one we have to thank for this tournament being possible. In particular, because I was about to cancel it, but he, like 20 minutes later or so, was like, I can join Subu, and then here we are. The brackets are on challenge, so there should be a challenge link somewhere in the announcements, and you can look at it there. Yeah, thank you, Pekla. Yeah, Info is doing a great job here. I think Influence is slowly taking control. Fixer going with some side dashes. Good dash out of the way. Counter thrust into cut and another thrust from Info. That was good. Yeah, it's looking good for Info now. Just not trying to reinvent the wheel, just sort of sticking with basics, and it's working pretty well. Oh, stab to the body there. As I say that, Info tried to go with a little fancy low stab. But something very important in these fights is to keep the point online as much as you can. Because that might otherwise give an opponent a chance to shut you down with a thrust down the pipe. They both go for stabs there. Maybe a grab would have been good there, but when you're panicking like that, hindsight is 20/20. So I get why they both just went for attacks there, hoping to win out. But Info definitely, yeah, there's a nice grab from Info. Info's known for doing that with rapiers, actually, so I'm not surprised. Fixer with a lunge into a stab. That's 3 stabs. Nicely done. That's to be expected with thrusting weapons. Sometimes you don't kill every time. But at least the combo worked out in the end. Cutting the thrust. Sort of testing Info's guard out a little. And yeah, that cut was a big mistake there. But a good try from Fixer. Again, I think it's just experience. Info is so much more experienced than Fixer, so. Victor says here for the content, stay for the commentary. I appreciate that. Thank you for coming out. Okay, I don't think Pekla is here yet in Oak, but oh, he is ready. Beautiful, beautiful. We'll just do the next fight then. We're not gonna deviate from that order. So go ahead and join Pekla. Excellent. Yeah, the tie breaks are set up properly. I was just double checking that so we don't make any mistakes. So for those who are unaware, points scored is the primary method we use to decide who wins. But we also have points difference as a tiebreak if somebody were to get the same score, hypothetically. And then if that still somehow doesn't settle it, which usually does, that's pretty rare that both would be the same, but it can happen. Then we have wins versus tied participants. And that settles it every time. So we have multiple tie breaks in the event that does happen. But odds are the points should be enough on its own. Do a great job. Appreciate it. Okay, Pekla on the left, Oak on the right. Beautiful. Now, Oakenlix is a veteran of the community, but like I mentioned earlier, he is a saber guy, he's not a rapier guy, so very out of his element. Pekla, on the other hand, has messed with rapiers, so... And in fact, he's used rapiers at a high level and actually won fights, so... Despite being a generalist, I would say Pekla definitely has a clear advantage here. He's also very tricky. He has a tricky playstyle that he applies to every character, using a lot of cancels and feints. Yeah. Already we've got predictions in the chat saying that Pekla will win, which is fair. Oak has a lot to prove here as far as his skills with rapiers, but I'm sure he's just happy to have some fun, see what he can do. I don't think he's terribly concerned if he were to lose, but he's definitely still giving it his all. There's a double lunge there. Even fight so far, actually. One thing Oak does bring to the table is he's very precise with footsies. So if he gets the range right with the rapier, he might still be able to bring that back and forth game that he likes with Laszlo. And to bring that here with Marie. He does play Calc as well, so he's actually not totally unfamiliar with the whole stabby thing. It's just Calc has more tools in the sense that he can also cut. He's not used to being limited to mostly just thrusting. Good stab there. And actually, a little bit of an upset here, but Oak is ahead by 2 points. Sidestep, testing the waters a little. Good stab from Oak. I'm actually kind of surprised Pekla didn't go with Marta, but I have seen a really good Marie from him as well. He actually used Marie yesterday, or tried to, against me. So maybe he's been trying to lab some stuff with her. Highly respect the dedication, since many people consider her the weakest character in the game right now. But the playing field is a little bit more even when the weapons are the same, so that definitely helps her out. Oak looking to score one more. He'll win this match. Pekla just a little bit behind. Highguard actually manages to parry the thrust with his counter thrust. That was well done from Pekla. He landed a second hit, but it wasn't a particularly good hit. There it is. This one's shaping up to be close. They both should be pretty happy with this performance, but obviously winning is best. If you can win the match, then you're in the best position to win. But stab to the leg, but it just doesn't stop Pekla because it was aimed at a non-vital target there. That is kind of the danger of double lunge. It can be tough to accurately aim it, and Pekla actually manages to win this. Nice comeback. 7-6, very close, but Pekla did indeed win. Now we've got me against Turk, which is exciting because Turk is a rapier specialist. He's a bit new, but he's proven that he can challenge the best. And actually he's beaten people who thought he was a pushover on Venator's tournaments and my tournament. So you've got to take this guy seriously, and I intend to do so myself. Apparently I can't spell British. That's better. Yeah, it was. Also, welcome, Gasper. Glad to have you. Okay, I saw Turk earlier. He's probably just, away for a little bit, but we can move on if he's not available right this second. And actually, Turk, you'll be fighting twice, so when you come in, make sure you stay after our fight, because you'll be fighting Oak right after. Plebeian sends a matchmaking ping right as we're in the middle of the tournament. Yeah, check out our Discord. I think the link that is in the description works, but let me know if it doesn't, and I can still try and link you to our server. If you just look up like Hellish Quart community or something on Discord, you'll find us as well. We're pretty easy to find, but let me know. I think on my YouTube page as well, if the link is still not working, you can just go to my channel, and somewhere in the links that I have, I think you'll find the server there. So that's another way you can find it. And I don't think Turk is available right this minute, so we'll come back to it, of course, like I said. We're just trying to run through this as quickly and efficiently as we can. Let's get info back in here, actually, because Turk was to fight twice, but he's not here. So I'll fight info, since that's the next fight after those two. Alright, beautiful info is here. And I'll just give you keyboard like before, and you will be on the right side info. Feel your playtime of For Honor, but this is definitely an interesting watch. Yeah, it's a different dynamic, but if you like swordplay, you'll definitely like this one too. This one is more, I would say, grounded in realism than For Honor, but I think if you do enjoy For Honor, it's still worth giving this game a look. Yeah. If you're a sword lover of any kind, this is a game to look at for sure. For Honor veterans. Yeah, some people actually came here from For Honor. 100%. Okay, I'll mostly be quiet for my fight, unless something crazy happens. Yeah, usually we mix the weapons up. We're just doing rapiers only for this event, as Oak says. That was crazy. Marta can still do those combos. Alright, GG info. And yeah, Marie just needs, like, against other characters who like to blade beat her, she definitely needs faster disengages like Marta does, but that is something she does struggle with for sure. Alright, info, you'll be fighting in just a little bit. Actually, no, Turk is the one who's fighting, my bad. Yes, Turk against me. Oak, you'll have to wait a little bit longer. But I appreciate the enthusiasm. We didn't do Turk's fight yet, so. And by the way, it's no problem that you're late. I can literally just do the next fight since it's round robin. And yeah, I agree, Siant. Okay, Turk, you'll be on the left this time. And in the next fight, you'll be on the right, just FYI. Okay, Turk, you're on the left. Let me know if you have any issues. Just click the browser, the window, I should say, if it's not working. You do have keyboard. Yeah, you have keyboard. Okay, let's try that again. Okay. I wonder what's going on, because he does have keyboard. Oh, he disconnected. Okay. Hopefully his connection's okay. Let me know how the connection's been, by the way, guys. I haven't heard any complaints yet. And my net seems to be solid, so seems good so far. For most people. Yeah, but you gotta keep in mind, rapiers are not cutting weapons, so they're not really about blade beats, they're more about displacements, and that's why I think it's more about rapiers being able to disengage and stuff like that that they need, and to thrust accurately around good angles and stuff like that. If they're relying on blade beats, then it doesn't essentially capture the essence of the weapon, so. And Marta doesn't, she mostly relies on her thrust accuracy, so that's probably what rapiers should be about. Yeah, because it's not a it's not a cutting weapon, so probably won't happen. But the side sword will be. Keep getting a black screen. Well, do you have a black screen right now? Press G right now. You can select. I wonder what's going on. I'm watching YouTube and you're in game. Yeah, but you can. I wonder what's happening then. Yeah, I just looked. Yeah, that's why I advocate for adding those mechanics. And actually, Marta's some of the way there already because she can disengage and she can thrust your hand out of nowhere. So Marta's definitely getting there. There's a bit more that could be done, but Yeah, but I think the cutting into long guard's better than just blade beating because you can reach farther and you can kill your opponent. It's better to have that than just a blade beat that doesn't threaten the opponent. Because if you go for a blade beat like that, then I can just ignore it and hit you. So it's a good thing Kubold got rid of that, I think. Don't know what to do. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure what to do either, because faster cut. Yeah, but you don't want it to be too fast or too powerful, because otherwise it would be similar in power to a saber, and that's not really what you want in a thrust-centric character, so there's definitely a balance to be struck there. Because rapiers are not fast-cutting weapons, that's not their thing because of how they're balanced. What they are, though, is they are very nimble thrusting weapons. Cut that moves her forward, yeah, that's reasonable. Anyway, I'll focus on the fight now. Yeah, but LG doesn't quite block all of the thrusts, but yeah, better thrust accuracy, I think, is the key. Alright, GG. Surprised I won that one, to be honest. Turk did well. 7-4, right? Yeah. Just double checking there. That's where YouTube delay kind of comes in handy. Turk, you're still fighting, by the way. You're fighting one more. Good game, by the way. Yeah, Oakenlicks will be fighting Turk now. So he has his work cut out for him, but He did well against Pekla, so you should feel pretty good in that regard. He's definitely holding his own. And you both need keyboard. Oak, you'll take the left. Turk, you'll be on the right this time. Okay, they're both here, so let's get started. Both go Marie again, which makes sense. They both seem to feel more comfortable with her, so. Nice combination there from Oak there. High LG and X into a double lunge. Oh, I see what you mean, like following it up, yeah. Yeah, I could see that. I haven't really experimented with that a lot because I play Saber, but given what I know about that move, that makes a lot of sense. Wiggly out here playing some Mountain Blade Warband, possibly Napoleonic Wars actually. That's the expansion to that game. Little unfortunate he's not here, but maybe Rapiers just didn't quite tickle his fancy. He definitely is more of a Saber guy, I would say. Not so much a Rapier person, so it's understandable. Rapiers are the least popular weapon format in this game, believe it or not. I feel like a lot of new people do enjoy Rapier at first, but they quickly figure out that sabers and longswords and stuff are better. I think if Rapier was strong, though, it would be easily the third most popular weapon. But right now, it's pretty much the least popular. Even like the Axe tournament, I feel like a lot of people were excited about that one, even though it's also not a popular weapon to play at high levels. People still enjoy the weapon as a concept, so. Yeah, but I suspect Rapier would be about third if it was. Well, I say it's not viable. Marie's not viable, really, is what it is. Marta's the only particularly viable Rapier character. But at least when the weapons are the same, Marie still stands a chance. It's not completely lopsided for her like it usually is. But Marie used to be really, really good as well, so that's just how the game goes. Sometimes characters are nerfed, sometimes they're buffed a bit too much. And I'm sure Marie will get a buff at some point. Axe is more fun, less frustration. Yeah, I could see that. A lot more twists going on too, like even if something goes wrong, somehow you can bring it back. But yeah, I suspect Longsword and Saber would still be more popular, even if Rapier's, like even if Marie got better again. And that's just because Longsword right now is kind of like how Katanas used to be in the 2010s and early 2000s, that kind of thing, in the 90s and 80s. Katanas used to be like all the rage, but right now it's longswords that are all the rage. And sabers are very popular too. Turk takes at 7-5. But Oak did again very well there. Should be pretty happy with that score, I would say. Now it's Fixer against Pekala. Pekla is here already, waiting for Fixer now. And then I get to fight Oak. And believe it or not, there's only 5 rounds, like totalizing 5 sets of 3 fights. So we're going through this pretty quickly. We'll be done pretty soon. Okay, I think Fixer needed... No, he's on gamepad. Perfect. Alright. So Pekla will be on the right, Fixer will be on the left. Yeah, so this tournament is going by pretty quick. We haven't really had... I mean, Turk had a minor problem, but we fixed it pretty quick, so... Yeah, I think the double lunge is the whole reason she was nerfed in the first place, so... Fixer on the left, Pekla on the right. Beautiful. Pekler's gonna go with Marta this time. I think he's the second player to pick Marta, actually. Most people have been going with Marie. Yeah, hot take. Maybe double lunge should be removed, but in exchange for better accuracy, better disengages, you know, these sorts of things. I think that would be a fair compromise for Marie while not making her too strong. But she would still be like A tier, you know, like with a lot of the sabers right now. There's not a lot of S tier characters right now. This game is pretty well balanced beyond what's going on with Marie, so A tier is really good. Like, there's nothing wrong with A tier. I'd put Marta in A tier easily. She's pretty good right now, for instance. Is she, like, absolutely the strongest character? But, no, but she is able to take anybody on no problem in good hands. You don't use double lunge that much? Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of Marie players who actually don't like using it. So I don't think it would be missed. Maybe remove the second part of the double lunge. I don't mind the first part. It's just a lot of people don't like the second part, because the second part can land at times when you don't expect it, and it looks a little weird. Surprise Fixer didn't go with Marta. I played them last night, and they were playing Marta. Yeah, maybe just prefers the mobility of Marie. I'm not sure. Marie plays like a lot weaker Yender. I can see that, yeah. The weapon is very different, but I get what you're trying to say. How she's about distance management and can't block a lot. Yeah, I can see that. Marie versus Marta. Marie is more favorable. I actually favor Marta, but I think a lot of that's personal preference. I've definitely seen Marie do well in this specific matchup, so... I see why you think so, and obviously it's all down to what character you prefer, I think, but... I tend to favor Marta because of what I'm experienced playing. Pekla takes it 7-0. I didn't really get to commentate that very much, but that's okay. Alright, Oak will be fighting me next. Yeah, that was nicely done, Pekla. I think experience just took over there. Pekla was controlling the pace of the fight. And he's a very experienced Marta player, actually, so It was actually surprising that he used a Marie for his first fights instead of using Marta. He can play Marie, it's just I think his Marta is stronger. Marta wins if you just let her walk all over you. Yeah, yeah. She has very nimble and accurate stabs. Okay. Oak was able to defeat me last tournament yesterday, so getting a little bit of revenge here, but obviously it's with rapiers, not with sabers, as I would prefer. But that is the hope. Ooh, I think Oak got tired there. No, I didn't cancel being punched, it's just that Oak couldn't follow it up because he was tired. And Marie is notoriously slow when tired. It doesn't happen often though, because her stamina is actually really good. But it can happen if you've been hurt. Alright, GG Oak. If you can believe it, I was going for a grab there, but for some reason it inputted an attack and then a cut. Like a thrust and then a cut, but that's okay. I ended the fight a little bit sooner than I expected, but probably not advisable to play if you're food too much. GG. Yeah, that was kind of funny though. I I actually wanted to draw it out a bit longer so I can grab. But props to Oak, he didn't let that happen. He ended up getting stabbed instead, so. British Turk now against Fixer. Fixer has solid core fundamentals, just a bit more confidence from experience and they can start cooking. Yeah, yeah, I would agree, especially from what I saw in the first fight. Yeah, if Fixer keeps at it, there's definitely some potential there. Turk is here, just waiting for Fixer now. Turk will take the left side and Fixer will take the right. Glad this is going so much smoother than the last time. No lag has been reported, just the small technical problem that Turk had, but we fixed that pretty quickly. Yeah, and I think this is your first tournament, so definitely not easy, even in the most ideal conditions. Turk taking the left side, Fixer on the right. There we are. Sometimes you need to click the window to connect as well. Is Turk able to select, or are we getting the black screen again? There we go. Maybe he just didn't realize it, because sometimes that happens when you're slightly delayed because of ping, but it's perfectly normal. There you go, Turk landing a lunge against Fixer. Okay, backing off there, Fixer. But finds the confidence to go for a dash. I think that's what people were saying, just needing a little bit more confidence, and that might net some more flags. You obviously don't want to go too far in that direction, though, because obviously then you're being a bit too reckless, but there's definitely a balance to strike, not giving away too much ground, but also not just opening yourself up for the sake of it. There was a blade away there. I don't think that was on purpose. Turk was able to score because of that. That can sometimes happen if you're trying to switch guards. You can accidentally go into blade away, at which point you can't block. It's really a taunt, it's not a guard that helps you in any way. Other than that. Dash attempt, getting tired. We're not seeing that. We don't see that very often, but in these rapier fights, because they're more disputed, sometimes you do see people getting tired. Marie's stamina management is actually pretty top-notch, so it's a rare sight. Marta as well, very rare to see her get tired, even if you use a bunch of stabs. Which is one of those interesting things, because rapiers, believe it or not, in real life are actually very exhausting to use, because of the stances that you use, the lunges, and the fact that rapiers are actually quite heavy. And that's something a lot of people don't realize, is rapiers range from average one-handed sword weight all the way up to two-handed longsword weight. And that's because they're so long, for one thing, and a lot of the weight is actually towards the hand, so they are heavy, but they're also balanced such that the point is very nimble. So they're balanced really well, but all the same, they are pretty heavy objects, and that's why some of these characters, these rapier characters, because of the way the weapons are weighted, they're not cutting very fast compared to a saber, and that's because they have a heavier blade. But you can think of it as a long lever. The rapier, all the same, because of how it's designed, has such a nimble point. And I think that's especially true for Marta in this game. Marie more so relies on her lunges. Good stab from Turk. And again, experience, I think, really helping Turk out. But I hope that Fixer is learning some things. I appreciate them coming out regardless. And You know, often the first tourney for a new player doesn't go as well as you hope, but you'll learn as you go and you'll get better. Appreciate you coming out still. And your fundamentals, like others were saying, are solid. It's just a lot of the good players know how to break the rules, so to speak. And what I mean by that is there's a certain set of principles you have to follow to do well at Hellish Court. But somebody who's really good at the game can sort of take those principles and break them in the moments where it's strategically viable to do so. And it'll catch someone who's used to just sticking with the fundamentals off guard. And sometimes that can be a difference between a new player and an experienced player. So you sort of have to know the rules first to break them. But once you're good enough, you can absolutely do so. And it'll catch people off guard. But until that point, if you're not experienced and you break the rules, typically that results in an easy punish. Anyway, we're doing Info against Pekla now. So Info will be on the left and Pekla will be on the right. I've pinged you both, so feel free to click the link. Okay, both are keyboard users. Let me just make sure Info doesn't have gamepad. Okay, Info will be on the left. And believe it or not, we're actually just over halfway done this tournament. And it's only been probably about an hour. I'll check once we get in here. Yeah, with experience you can take the rules and use them as traps. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Lindy Beige vid in the Tard said about rules. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, it's basically been an hour, so we're doing pretty good for time. That's how you can, for instance, win a saber exchange. Because usually the rule is one guy cuts, the other guy parries, and then he cuts back, and then you continue. And it's actually a lot of fun. That back and forth exchange is a really fun dynamic in this game. But if you're a really good saber player, what you can do is you can double up out of nowhere, or you can use some slower attack to switch up the tempo. And normally using such attacks is a little bit reckless. It's something that somebody, if you just did it randomly, could easily punish. But if you're doing it at a time when the other guy's not expecting it, then you can score a flag that you otherwise wouldn't. And some characters are especially good at that, like Laszlo or Tarnowski. For slightly different reasons. Laszlo is really good at it because he's fast. He's a speed demon, so he can really switch things up on you in a flash, so to speak. But Tarnowski's good at it because his slow speed is kind of mesmerizing at first. It's very different from the other characters, but his attacks remain very threatening. So fighting him is not always so straightforward, and sometimes he doubles you a lot, because you try to punish him, but there's a second cut incoming. And with Pekla actually dominating this fight, Info's gonna be hoping to at least score some flags going forward. That was a little blade away from Pekla, but I don't think he meant to do that. Kind of a precarious spot to try that. Big cut from Pekla gets punished. Info hoping for a comeback. That retreat cut there is actually pretty good at beating the blade. The only issue is it takes you farther away from the opponent, so it's harder to follow up. Because of the nature of the attack, it's kind of a desperate blade beat to get you out of danger. But it is a fun one to throw. Info was actually using that earlier, I remember. Triangle from Info gets punished immediately. Just not quite the right time to throw that move, but when it's thrown at just the perfect time, it's very stylish and it's very effective. Good cancels from Pekla, throwing Info off a little bit, but Info manages to stay safe, but then closes in and goes for a cut, getting past the point so Info couldn't land a hit. Yeah, that was good from Pekla, making the fight messy there and managing to take it that way. And it was 7-2 for Pekla, so a nice victory. That's how Pekla is. And that's what we were talking about too. Like, Pekla is a guy who just breaks the rules on the regular, but he's so good that he can do so and get away with it consistently. He does weird cancels, he gets in your head, he cooks up weird tech. That's what Pekla is all about, and he does this with every single character. Pekla, you're still fighting, by the way. You're fighting against British Turk now. Just because of the relatively small number of participants, a lot of people are having to fight twice as we move into the next round, but it only happens once. Okay, Pekla, this time you're on the left, and Turk will be on the right. And Fixer, you'll be fighting me next. Put a dash of what you tried in real life, and that's cool. Yeah. That's the really neat thing about this game is that it puts you in the fencing mindset. So if you approach the game based on how you would actually approach a duel or a sparring match or something like that, you can come up with stuff that actually will work in the game. And a lot of even master Hemaists have pointed that out, that this game really works those same mental muscles that real sword fighting does. That doesn't mean you have to be a sword fighter or a master sword fighter to do well at this game. You can be a gamer and learn the game and do well that way. But it definitely can open up some interesting doors. And like I said, I'm not a fantastic swordsman in real life. I'm just a little bit experienced. I do a lot of reading of history and stuff, but I have messed with HEMA a little bit. Hope to get more active with it later, but it definitely does help just having that background knowledge. But it's not strictly necessary either. Good dash and thrust, no kill. Okay, even now. Like I said, Turk, definitely a strong competitor here in his own right, so Pekla has to be cautious. There's a double. Good trade there. Ooh, Pekla getting a little tired actually because of that. And I think Like, Marie notoriously has, it's not necessarily low damage. Sometimes she kills you in one hit just like everyone else because of the nature of the game and the fact that her stabs, if they land just perfectly, they actually have the highest damage in the game. But she does get a lot of those cases where she grazes the opponent. And I think that's why we're seeing Marie get tired more often than usual. Because usually when Marie's hit, it's not by another Marie, it's by a longsword, a saber, somebody like that, or a Marta, who will kill her pretty quickly, and then you won't see her get tired. She'll just either be dead, or if she avoids being hit, she'll still be alive and she can fight on as much as she needs to. But when the weapons are pretty much equal, it can end up being the case where Marie can exhaust herself, especially if she sustains damage over time. Double lunge there from Tech. Well, double lunge from Turk. Turk takes it. And Turk looking for one more to take the whole round, and that's it. The sidestep Y, a very meta move for Marie. Nicely done. That is 7-3 for British Turk. Very good performance against a veteran player. Now let's get Fixer in here. And after that, Oakenlicks will fight Info to finish off round 4. And then round 5 will be the final round. Sincerely is here. Oh yeah, that's Fixer, yeah. Yeah, unfortunately there's limited usernames, so sometimes they're different, but I know who you are. Praying for your opponents to find peace. Okay, take the left side, Fixer. I'm on the right this time. You might need to click the window. Sometimes when you click in the parsec, you just gotta click it again. There you go. Yeah. Alright, a lot of people believe in Fixer in the chat, believe it or not. There's some support there. Turk says 7-0, max 7-3 for Fixer. Let's see what happens. Hopefully that gives Fixer some confidence. Yeah, her finisher is really good. I like it a bit too much, as you can see. Yeah, it's really good. easy fixer. Grabs can be a bit difficult to counter at first. I just noticed he was kind of struggling with the confidence again, so I tried to take the opportunity to close him down and get some grabs in. But it's just one of those things you'll get better with time. If you didn't know, by the way, you can just press back, and that's a good way to counter it. But that was a good effort. Okay, Oak is here. You'll be fighting Info. And then Pekla, you'll be fighting me right after that for the final round. And yeah, that was actually a nice double lunge. Turk's referring to a moment where I got hit there and I tried to go for a grab, I think. Okay, hopefully Info's around. If not, we still have some time. It's no biggie. We can do me versus Pekla. I'll just give, I don't know, 30 seconds or so. Just for efficiency's sake, not that we're impatient. It's just I like to run these things smoothly, so we don't wait too long. Info is here, which is excellent. We don't have to worry about that. Oakenlick's on the left and Info on the right. And that will finish off round 4. And then we have one more round after that. Oh, probably just pressed back by mistake. Oh, actually, you know what might be happening? Yeah, I didn't give Info keyboard. That's what happened. Because Info has like keyboard inputs, if that makes sense, in her gamepad is what I understand, or something like that. So probably meant to press the Y equivalent button, but ended up pressing back, which happens. That was my mistake, but we fixed it, so. Can we DQ Subu? I feel like he's cheating. Oh man. Yeah, I'm surprised I'm doing this well, to be honest. I know Marta's moveset really well, to be fair. It's not like I'm clueless with her. But I don't play her super often, so. She used Splitter. Yeah, yeah. I see. So there's some logic there. Hopefully the lag spike subsided. Oak looks like he's doing okay, I think. Question mark? Alright. Beautiful. Ready to go again after a brief clash. They had some kind of lag spike. Yeah. Yeah, I get it. I'm in a very good spot right now, thankfully. To just win. I feel like an imposter though, because that's having a Cuirassier title. I was hoping somebody else might win it, but that's okay. I hope to put it up for grabs some other time, and if you guys have suggestions as to other ways to earn these titles, we can do polls or we can figure stuff out. It doesn't just have to be these tournaments, because I get that not everybody wants to do a rapier tournament, or not everybody wants to do a shield tournament, which I don't think we'll do today. I think I said we might do it today, but I think we'll postpone it. Just because we're doing the mixed one on Friday anyway, so it's not like we'll be missing out on that. Unless people really want to do a shield tournament, but something tells me that's not the case. Because shields are not very popular either, believe it or not. They're actually not as strong as they seem, and a lot of people just don't like the being pushed around, so would never play a shield. Yeah, Turk does not like shields, so that's the other thing. If Turk doesn't participate, and by the way, I don't blame you, Turk. Like, obviously, shields are not your thing. But because of that, I think it's best to leave that for another day. Weapon Master title is for winning a tourney with a certain weapon type, not winning a tourney only of that type. Yeah, I know Venator does it like that, kind of. I could talk with Tao and Maestro about that. I mean, I am the server owner, so theoretically I could just do it anyway, but I like to get input from the mods and the people, and so we're not just doing random changes that people don't ask for. But I do like that idea. Turk likes the idea. Alright, yeah, I'll ask Tao and Maestro Cake about that, and we'll go from there. If anyone has other ideas, let us know too. We're looking for feedback. This is still a new thing, so Oak did very well this time around, 7-0. And that's the thing about elite players. They can really surprise you even with a character they're not used to. Oh, did something happen with the controls? Oh, that's what happened. Okay. So, I guess Info was controlling the left side for a moment there. That was weird. I don't know if you guys want to redo that or not, but that's very unfortunate. Okay, Pekla is here. No redos, it's your equipment that's failing. Okay. Yeah, Info says there's no need. Still a shame, but, you know, it is what it is. At least it didn't negatively, like, impact the fight in Info's favor, so yeah, there was no real harm done, it looks like, so that's good. Except for Info probably struggling to control her own character, which is a shame. Okay, Marta against Marta. Actually, yeah, I'll stick with this skin, it's fine. I don't want to hold you up. I would have used the mask, but we're already here. Let's just get to the fight. It's not that big of a deal. I think people can figure out who's who. Fair enough. Nice, yeah. I have a peculiar style, let's say, with Marta. But Pekkala's style can be very peculiar in its own way, too. Anyone who's fought my Marta a lot knows about it. Nice, Pekkala. Wow, that was a nice flag, actually, Pekkala, that last one. That was peak rapier in Hellish Court, I think. So, that was nice. GG. And very close. Pekkala almost won that one. Victor says I is back. Yeah, I believe Boomer is streaming right now as well, so that's fair. If you guys know Idiot Boomer, a friend of the channel, he is currently streaming right now if you want to go check him out. We're almost done the tournament. Let's get Info and Turk in here. Yeah, it looks like Victor enjoyed that too. It was quite a back and forth, I thought. Okay, Turk is here, just waiting for Info. Hopefully Info's setup is still working. And that we don't have that same thing happen again, but it is what it is if it does. Just making sure you only have keyboard again. And you'll take the left side this time, Turk will take the right. Then it'll be Oak against Fixer to end it off. What does Victor stream? Yeah, Kingdom Come Deliverance, exactly. Yeah. He does hardcore mode, which is pretty interesting. Which is something I've been meaning to at least give a try, but some other games have caught my attention, so. Goes low. But Info of a nice leg void. Interesting, they were opening some cuts there as well, not just stabs. Trying to catch each other off guard. Double lunge, but a stab to the body. Trying to figure out your next series to play. Yeah, you had quite a few on your radar, didn't you? Going for a stab, double lunge. Nice from Turk, securing his point. It is 1-1. This fight could be pretty close, by the way. These two are kind of neck and neck with Rapier. Triangle attempt, the double lunge is attempted as a punish, maybe a little bit late, but Info also has some good movement to get add there. There's the dash and thrust there. Good pressure by Turk. Now getting the lead by 1 point. Dash and thrust by Info, trying the same thing, but Turk was ready. It's one of those attacks where if you're not ready for it, it can catch you out of nowhere, but if you are, it's very easy to punish. It's high risk, high reward, like a lot of dashes. But Turk still getting the better end there, just getting more decisive hits. Info went with some kind of slow cut. I don't think that was really the intention, it was just Info was panicked. That was a good double lunge though. And now it's more even. Anybody's game still. And notice that they're not overusing long guard. They're using long guard moves as that was really weird. There was a triangle combo. So Info hit with one deep lunge and then somehow managed to do another one, skipping the recovery. But well played by Info. I didn't know you could do that. And now we might see a triangle match as they try to one-up each other. That is, believe it or not, a move in a real rapier fencing, that lunge. It's obviously high risk. It's maybe not always the most ideal thing to try, but if you're more skilled than your opponent or the opportunity just presents itself, you can duck under and try stabbing like that. And your reach might surprise your opponent. One of those situational things. I wouldn't make a habit of doing that personally. Seems like you're begging for a hit to the face when you do that, but... I'm also not a rapierist though, so take that with a grain of salt. I'm more of a saber and longsword person, so... Double lunge, and then a double lunge counter. It's just a matter of ranging there. That cut doesn't land because the hilt landed. Turk was a bit too close to be throwing that, and Info tried to punish with a grab, but that was good retreating there from Turk. Double lunge. Turk managing to land that. And now Turk just needs one more. Going low. There's the double lunge. Nice sidestep from Info. Info staying in the match, but one small mistake and it could be over. Double lunge, but I think Turk stopped the double lunge because the first attack didn't land. And Info was able to use that brief moment to land a lunge of her own. I think you can delay the second lunge too. Some combos let you do that. You can actually delay the follow-up a little bit. And a stab to the face there gives Turk the point. But that was a close one. It could have been anybody's. Oh, I almost gave you -6 points, Turk. That would not have been good. Alright, and Info got 5. Excellent. Oakenlicks against Fixer, and then we're actually done the tournament, if you can believe it. Oak is already joining. I'll ping you, Fixer, if you didn't get that. Today's not your day. Yeah, it happens to the best of us. I mean, last week, USFC, I felt really. My play just felt really off against Oak. And Oak is an elite player, so if you're making mistakes constantly, Oak will just punish them every time. So, yeah, I get it. And sometimes it happens with the weapon you're theoretically the best with, so it is what it is. I'm sure next time you'll do much better. And I've had it happen too, where on some days a weapon that's not typically the weapon I use is the best weapon in my hands. It's weird how that happens. But I've had it happen with Marta actually. I have won like a handful of tournaments with Marta. So, and one of them was an experiment. I was trying to use her in a one life tournament, which we should do sometime soon because those are short, but they're really high pressure, high stakes. And it's a really neat idea where if you die at all, whether it's a double or your opponent kills you cleanly, you're just disqualified. So it's a neat idea to try sometime soon again. But I used Martha in that type of a tournament, and it's because I felt like Reach was gonna keep me safe compared to using a Saber where I might be able to outfight my opponents, but I'm in range of their attacks. So theoretically, I was like, if I keep distance and I just don't let my opponent get close, then there's nothing they can do to defend me, and I'll be able to get a clean flag. And of course, in practice, I ended up doing some of those crazy Marta combos that I usually do anyway, and it wasn't as clean as I was kind of envisioning it in my mind, but it still worked out in the end. At least that one time. I wouldn't try that again, I don't think, but Marta proved to be really good in that format, and I think she still would be. She's a pretty strong character right now. Yeah, that one tournament you popped off at the end. It's good to change things up time to time. Absolutely, yeah. And I had that happen with Isabella, who, to be fair, she's actually my oldest main. Like, I used her way in the beginning, so I definitely know what I'm doing with her, even if I'm rusty oftentimes. There's just that longsword tournament where I was on fire for some reason. And I got the gold medal in Venator's tournament. And, especially considering that I was European host, I was pretty happy with that. And even afterwards in the mixed weapons, I stuck with Isabella, and it went pretty well. I wouldn't do that again, unless I just felt Isabella was calling to me that day, but sometimes that happens. Oak takes it, pretty convincing victory. 7-2, I believe. Yep, just double checking before I submit the scores, and with that, we have actually completed the tournament at this point, having finished round 5. I think it's obvious I won, but let's have a look at who got second place. That was Turk, who I think a lot of us expected to be a contender for even first place, to be honest, but he got second place, so I got to give him a shout out. And that's why he was like, please disqualify Subu, because that was his only chance, probably at that point, at getting first place. Pekla got third, though, so I got to give Pekla some credit there. He gave me a really good fight when we fought. I wonder if he would have done better if he just stuck with Marta, but his Marie was also evidently pretty good because he played Marie most of the time. And Oakenlick's got fourth, and I'd say that's pretty good considering there were some rapier specialists here. Info, not her best day, but she did score 19 points, got fifth place, and Fixer maybe didn't have the best performance, but I'm sure Fixer will learn from this event and get better. The fundamentals are there. You just need to improve on those fundamentals and learn when to break the rules. I think that's the lesson that I would take if I were you, Fixer, from this whole tournament. But anyway, it was a great event, guys. Nice and short. Glad we got it over with. And like I said, no shield tournament. I know I said I might do a shield tournament today as well, but I don't think the interest is there. And so, yeah, we'll stop it there. And there'll be a mixed weapon tournament tomorrow, which is the usual format that we do. We like to mix weapons. We don't like to strictly stick with the same weapon the whole time. So that'll be a more ordinary tournament, and hopefully we'll get a better turnout that time. Because Friday is usually like prime time for tournaments. So thank you all for showing up. I'm glad I didn't have to cancel this, and it was a lot of fun. See you next time.